Welcome to the Celebration of You. I'm your host, Holly Dowling. I'm thrilled to share with you incredible people from all over the world who are living and leading extraordinary lives. From overcoming immense adversity to discovering the secret sauce to leading with courage and grace. Their stories are going to bring you hope and inspiration. Now let the stories begin. Oh, what a glorious day, and what a wonderful moment when you get to be honored and privileged enough, as I feel I am, to be touched by people's lives and their stories from around the world. And I'm so excited today because I feel like I'm sitting on the couch having a cup of coffee with this incredible woman who's on the other end of the line. And I'm already smiling and laughing because we've been laughing already. But I'd love for the world to meet the incredible Hélène Poulin. Hélène, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, good. Excited. I would love... there's so much that I'm so excited for us to get to share with people. But first of all, I'd love for you just to tell everybody where you live right now, because where you're calling from, we're not on a couch having coffee, but it sure feels like it. And tell us a little bit about what you're passionate about and what you're doing right now in your world.
Okay, well, I retired last June, so it will be 1 year, June 16th.
Ooh.
What's today, the 10th? Yes. And yes, I was to retire at the end of June, but took my vacation and all that, so I left early. And I've been working 40 years, and I've had enough of working because I've realized life is short, and when you're not happy at what you're doing, just leave. Just do something about it. So I left. I had 40 years, and I was able to retire. Now I'm in a network marketing business. So that's the whole family that I have there. I get to travel and we do training and stuff with a bunch of ladies. And I also cycle when it's summertime. And I haven't taken my golf clubs out yet, but I golf too. That's coming.
I love that.
I like dancing. I haven't danced for a couple of years, but I like ballroom dancing. So I've started doing that again. I do swing dance.
Ooh.
So like on Wednesday nights, every second Wednesday. I've started going back to that. I used to dance 4 or 5 times a week, like just different places in Ottawa. Did I say I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada?
Well, there we go. Now you did.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. In the capital of Canada.
I love it.
And like now I'm working on, to reward myself for working 40 years because I had a resentment of everybody going away for winters. That's what I did. As my reward, I went to Mexico for 4 months. So that was fun. And then I came back April 1st. And I was here for about a month and a half, and I really missed Cuba. So I got on an airplane and went to Cuba for a week. I love the ocean there.
I love it. I love this.
Yeah, I went alone, and I brought a bunch of books, and all I did all week was sit on the beach and read, and that's what I wanted to do because in Mexico the ocean was very rough, and I just wanted the beautiful blue ocean of Cuba. So I went to Cuba. And now I'm back, and yesterday and the day before, it's only been 10 Celsius, so I'm thinking I should go back to Cuba.
Oh, God, you know what's going to happen? It's June, 10th we're recording this. You've got your anniversaries on June 16th for being retired. What do you bet you send me an email and say, I think I've left. I'm going back to the ocean.
Right. Oh, my God.
But you know what, Hélène, what's so beautiful about, it's the simplicity, and yet there's a simplicity and a profound moment here, because what I don't want anyone to miss is that, and you'll hear more about this in a moment, but Hélène had 40 years of working, right? You don't even sound like you could be even 40 years old, let alone 40 years of working. And I think a lot of people can relate to being in the corporate world. I mean, you worked for the gas company for several years. You've worked in the banking industry. I mean, you've had an amazing eclectic background. And I have to, just to tie up and kind of bring this together, I was the keynote speaker at the Nucerity network marketing event last October, and had people from around the world that were in. And I fell in love with the product. Having spoken for the event, I was like, I better start trying your product. And then through all the podcasts, and Helen being with that network marketing company started listening to the podcasts. And one of those, I asked people to share their story. And because it's really important to me to celebrate people that have pushed through adversity, people that have tapped into their resilience, people that have taken trials and tribulations and turned them into refining who they are as the diamond. And so when I read Helen's story, I said, I have to know this woman and I have to celebrate this woman. And I want the world to get to celebrate somebody like you, Helen. So I just wanted to kind of give them a little bit more context on how the connections happened. And I feel there's something, just so you all know, there's a story here that I think can really touch many people's lives. So Helen, I'd love for you to take us back into the journey that you feel most comfortable sharing that just could possibly bring some hope to someone listening to this. Share with them what you sent me.
Okay, thank you. Just in 1991, it was July 28th, we were going for a drive, my husband and I and 3 children. Our friend was with us with his 2 children. His wife she's a real estate agent. She had an open house that day, so she didn't come. We were going for a drive to the go-karts because we had gone on the Friday night and it was too busy. It was full of teenagers and it was too crowded, so we said we'll go back Sunday. On the way home, a car came into our lane and hit us, and the van turned, a 180-degree turn, and flipped on its side. My daughter, who was 12, and my son, who was 6, so my daughter was the eldest and my son was the youngest, they were killed. My son, Paul, who was 10, he survived. He just walked out just like we did. And the father was okay, but the 2 children, Joel, he had to be resuscitated. His heart had stopped, and Josiane's face was caught between the frame of the minivan. And to this day, she's got a scar on her face. But they survived, thank God. 4 years after that accident, a big frustrating part about that was also the young man who hit us. We went to court, and I was very frustrated because the system, anyway, he got away with it. He claims he fell asleep and he got away with it, and I was protesting and doing all kinds of things in my grief. And 4 years later, my husband and I separated. That's statistic that I've read about. Many people separate after having lost children.
Yeah.
So 9 years after that accident, my son Paul was now 19 years old, and I got a call at 11 o'clock at night saying that he was stuck in his truck. He had gotten into an accident, and he was dead, and they were trying to get him out. So he was 19. During the course of the court proceedings for the first accident, I started drinking, and I drank and tried to deal with my loss, and then I lost my job with the natural gas company. We all lost our jobs. The company was restructuring. I had to move. I moved to a town where I knew no one. My son came to visit me a couple times. He was now staying with his father. And that's when, after I was in that little town, that's when he died. So I was by myself when I got the news. And then after I lost my job there, I got a job with the provincial government, with the courts. And I decided that through my insanity of drinking and grief, I decided, okay, it's time for another geographical cure. So I thought things will be better in Ottawa. So I asked for a transfer with the courts in Ottawa because my sister lives here. And I got the transfer 2 months later. I think it was January 1st, great day to decide to do things. Yeah. I did drink that night. New Year's Eve, I did not drink. It was my decision. I'm moving. And on the 2nd, I went to work and I asked for a transfer on February 14th. I was driving to Ottawa. I was staying with my sister-in-law in Ottawa, and I started my job at the courthouse, and I bought a house here. And I drank here heavily for 2 years. I was really going downhill because alcoholism is a progressive disease. So 2 years after I was here, I decided, no one ever did an intervention, but I decided, okay, I can't go on living like this. My doctor would ask me, do you have any suicidal thoughts? I said, no, I wouldn't kill myself, but if I dropped dead right now, I wouldn't care because I had no reason to live, right? Didn't have any goals in life, nothing. I just go to work every day hungover. And the paperwork that I did to release the inmates downstairs at the courthouse, one of the conditions, and I would type this over and over again while I was working, that was my job, to type the conditions of release. And one of the conditions said, you are to attend the Royal Ottawa Hospital for alcohol/drug assessment. And as I'm typing that, day after day, I'd say to myself, I need to attend the Royal Ottawa. So I did. Eventually, I did.
Wow.
I surrendered, and I went to treatment for a month. And now I celebrated my 10 years of sobriety in March 26th, while I was in Mexico.
Oh.
That's what's great about traveling about Alcoholics Anonymous. There's meetings around the world. So that's my other family.
Oh.
Yeah, and just before I retired in March, I read this. I was subscribed to this food blog, and one of the blogs said 10 reasons why you should write a blog. And one of the reasons was to share something that you have gone, where you could help people.
Yeah.
I said, I can do that. And after 25 years, or it was 24, I'm ready to talk about it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write a blog. And one of my friends who used to work on Parliament Hill, he is editing my blog. That's why my blog sounds so beautiful. People, Helen, you write so well. I said, no, I just write the story and my friend John edits it and it makes it look so beautiful, doing a really nice job. So I just checked a while ago and I'm really excited because this is the power of sharing.
Yes.
My niece shared it, and I mentioned, please share this blog. And there's 1,699 sessions since Monday when I released part 2 of my last blog.
Oh.
So, yeah, the that I had seen before was 170 sessions, and now it's 1,699 in 4 days.
Oh.
So keep sharing, yeah.
Oh.
So, so now I'm retired, and I don't know why I was able, and I wrote one post on that, why I was able to survive this, and other people will lose one child, and they're either street people, or they commit suicide, or they're just, I don't know. If people are wired differently, I'm not sure, but I'm here. Maybe my reason to be here is to share this and to help others. I get really nice comments too on the blog.
Yes, you are. So I just have to, you can hear, I'm not going to be able to hold back the tears.
Yeah.
I'm kind of speechless, and I'm also in a place of pure humility and gratitude for someone like you who is willing to take such extreme adversity. I don't think anyone listening could probably relate to the extremity of what you've encountered. And yet you are standing here, you are alive, and you have taken a stance and taken time to take care of you. And there's no accident, Helen. It's no coincidence that by you finally saying, what can I do to share? And the timing that we would be doing this interview at the same time that you've aligned to start writing your blog, and to be able to, I want to support you and to be a platform for you, because there are so many people that are hurting that your story, and you just said, I don't know why I'm alive. You're alive because there's a much higher power that needs you to do this, to bring hope to others around the world, around the world.
Yes. I'd like for this to go around the world.
It will. And you weren't ready to do that until now. And this time in your life is time. It's the season. You know that saying, things happen for a reason? I believe they happen for a season. Yeah. And in that season, you'll know the reason. And all of this, you are one of the most beautiful diamonds I have ever been so blessed to encounter that has been refined in such extreme heat. And I just want, right now, I wish we were sitting on a couch, because I would just love to be hugging you right now, like everybody that's going to be listening to this. I don't even know how to ask you this next question, because I'm just going to ask it and let what comes from your heart. But if there is a listener that has even remotely, slightly encountered anything of what you've been through, what advice, what wisdom, what comfort, what hope, what could you share with them if this was the first time they might be hearing somebody that could help them look up versus down and contemplating ending life?
Mm-hmm. Well, contemplating ending life, I would say to them, and I went with the lady on Monday to the courthouse. Her son was stabbed last year and he died. And I would say to them, you have to go through the pain. It's going to take a year, 2 years. And then you have to realize, like, you can drag this out, or you can decide, okay, I have to, like my last blog, you have choices. You have 2, 3 choices. You can be miserable for the rest of your life, and that's not going to help you. It's not going to bring your child back. Or you can decide to have a better life. And you will have ups and downs. I still, after 25 years, have, like, it's still some days I talk to God and I say, okay, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I still do that, and I'm a loner, but, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Dr. Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, Holly Dowling, because, and that's what motivates me. Les Brown I have my 50-inch screen. I put it on YouTube in the morning. Because
I love it.
Yeah, I have to, and you have to work at it all the time. So if you want to keep going, because it's so easy to go down the wrong path,
Yeah, and you know what I'm loving right now is that this world is so blessed in this moment that you chose to step out of the darkness and the woe is me, and you made a choice to start healing, and you knew it would take time. But what you're doing now, Helen, this is your biggest purpose. This is you being used at the highest level. And I would love for any listeners to know, could you tell us how we can access your blog, and tell people if they want to follow your blog, or if, with your permission, if they follow your blog, can they reach out to you via email? I mean, I'll let you have permission to tell anybody how they can follow you or get more in contact with you.
Oh, yes, they can subscribe to the blog. The blog, it's a very long name. It's called Surviving After the Death of My 3, and it's the number 3 children. So if you just enter that, you should be able to access the blog. And yes, you can put comments. And before I say I approve the comment, if you want to speak to me, and you would like for me to communicate with you, just drop me I think your email address does show on the left-hand column, but I would be happy to share with you.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And you know what we will do? I will make sure that we have that specific blog. When we post the podcast, people will have access to this, okay? I will make sure it's in there.
Okay.
And Helen, when I think about the most amazing people that I've been blessed to get to connect with in my lifetime. You're at the top of the list. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart and for all that you're doing. And I hope that we can someday have coffee on a couch, and I will be forever in your corner. And if there's anything that I, Holly, can do for you, please, please, please know I'm just an email away or a phone call. Okay?
Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you, Helen. You're brave, you're courageous, and you're beautiful. And I thank you.
Well, thank you for doing what you do.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me for another awesome celebration of you. If you were inspired by this story, please share it with your family and friends and hashtag Your Story Matters. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on iTunes. And absolutely, please come to my website, hollydowling.com. Leave a comment there too, and while you're there, pick up your free gift. Most importantly, though, just remember that your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift back.